of the appearance of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who brought in the sankirtana movement for us, as especially as part of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Mahaprabhu brought in the Nama Sankirtana, importance of Nama Sankirtana, and that's why today in Kali Yuga, if we see everywhere, even for a normal lecture, you will see less number of people, but when people say Nama Sankirtanam, there is a lot of people gathering up to say, I just want to hear. It's not just music. Yes, we love music, but beyond that, the names of the Lord are much more potent. So it makes a huge difference when we do Nam Sankirtan, right? So we're going to look into understanding some of the core details of who is Mahaprabhu, what is the purpose of Mahaprabhu's appearance, and what should we do on the day of Mahaprabhu's appearance. Yeah. So who is Caitanya Mahaprabhu? Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyaihi Sankirtana Prayehi Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So, who is Caitanya Mahaprabhu? Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Kali Yuga, in the molten golden yellow color. That was his body color. And so he was also called Gauranga. So, what is Gauranga? Gaura is molten gold. Yeah. So that's why Radharani, she's called Gaurangi, because her body was in the color of molten gold. Yeah. So then, now technically we can talk about this color combination here. It's quite a lot molten gold color. The pure gold is a different color that we wear, but molten gold has a much more brighter shade. When you see that molten gold flowing, you will see a little bit of brightness, shining, illumination that's coming around that molten gold that is flowing. So it's a little bit of different color. So why is Mahaprabhu called Gauranga and Radharani called Gaurangi? Is there a connection? So the connection is Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. What is the connection? Why Mahaprabhu is a combination of Krishna and Radharani? So now what happened in the previous Yuga, which is Dwapar Yuga. Right now we are in the Kali Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, Krishna appeared. And Krishna was physically present and he was giving a lot of instructions. And when the one major instruction was Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna is asking, how do I deal with this situation in my life? I'm standing in the battlefield. What do I do? These are my relatives. These are the only relationships that are close. My grandfather standing against me. My brothers, cousin brothers standing against me. Right? My uncle standing against me. Everyone is against me. I don't want to lose them in this battlefield. Many times, he's not just saying my uncles, aunts. He's saying father-like figures, grandfathers, my guru, my sons-like figures, my uncle-like figures, everybody, my sambandhi. They are all standing opposing me. Why should I fight? Many times in life we go through this, right? That we have to fight our own close relationships. Sometimes we are fighting a relationship that we are having with ourselves. So Arjuna starts with saying, why am I fighting with all of them? And then he's also talking about the fight that is happening inside of him, right? So yesterday we were with a devotee and he was saying, so he was traveling and from a Western world, he had gone to India and then he was coming back here to move back to his country. So he was saying, India has become very noisy, right? Everywhere you go, there is honking. There's so much traffic and people are honking, noisy. It's so noisy. Sometimes we don't realize that more than the external noise, the internal noise is much more disturbing. If only we understand how to calm the internal noise, then everything else around in the world will be so calm, will not be disturbed by anything. We get disturbed by the external factors because we are not internally peaceful. So the smallest thing that happens outside is very disturbing for us, right? So Arjuna, sitting in the battlefield, is talking about how externals are disturbing, but much more than that, his internal is very disturbed. He's saying, I'm very indecisive. Do we feel indecisive? Most of the day, right? What to cook? Sambar, rasam, dal, or black dal? Just order, right? Noon, talabat, so many things. And then he's saying fear of sinful reactions. Oh my God, what would happen if I did this, this or that? I'm so scared of what sin would affect me, right? He's scared. Are we scared? Yes, we are scared also. Then he's saying, because of his compassion, he's saying, he's not saying I'm compassionate, that's not what Arjuna is. The way he's quoting things, maybe Duryodhana has done so much and so many of them are standing against me to finish me, but I don't want to kill them. Look at my grandfather, he's done so much for me. Look at my guru, he's done so much for me. I don't want to kill them. So there is compassion inside of him. He's saying, I don't mind even begging, but I don't want to kill. So like this, he gives multiple reasons. So then Krishna starts giving a theoretical explanation of how he should fight. Because of his nature being a Kshatriya, he's saying you should fight. So Krishna gave that in the Gita, and that was in Dwapar Yuga. Now, end of Dwapar Yuga, so we all hear the theory, right? We all want to understand Gita, but how much do we end up understanding Gita? That's a big question, right? And we think Gita is all about theory, right? Now, when we study science in schools, we may study in the book, but what we understand better is I can say, copper sulfate is blue in color. When you put it in water, it transforms to this color. And then when you add NaOH, it turns into this and that. Color changes. When you're reading it, you feel like, wow, this sounds so interesting. Can I actually see it? Right? So in chemistry, I'm sorry, I'm taking you a little bit into science lab and chemistry. But they say when you do titration in a lab, so initially the liquid or the solution inside the conical flask is colorless. And then when you keep titrating and titrating, it changes color, right? Because either acid becomes base or base becomes acid, or it is neutralizing. Something is happening because of which color changes to a beautiful violet color. You feel like, oh my God, how does that beautiful color look? You want to know, you just don't want to hear it. There are these things you want to see. And then your teacher takes you to the science lab and then she says, okay, now you titrate. And then you're so loving it, I'm going to titrate. You're taking it and then you're titrating it and you're actually seeing the color. Will you ever forget that titration in your life?
No.
Why not?
Because you've physically done it yourself.
Yes, seeing it, right? There is not just auditory, there is also visual and kinesthetic work. And that settles so deep into my heart. So whatever Krishna has given in the Gita, it is great. It is for our auditory purpose. But if only we can put it into action, it helps us much more deeper. And for that reason, Mahaprabhu appeared. And he is saying, you heard the theory from me as Krishna. Now we are going to be in the lab doing it together. Now imagine your science teacher says, go to the lab, just do it yourself. Right? Say, ma'am, I'm scared. Maybe some, acid will burst on my face. I'm scared. Can you go with me? So the teacher is saying, I'm with you. So Krishna is saying, I'm not just going to give you theory. Now as a teacher, I'm going to take you to the lab and practically I'm going to show how this works. So Krishna gave the Gita as theory. Mahaprabhu has come to show how this works in real life. So end of Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna, I've spoken everything. I've talked to you about soul, body, how you're not the body, you're only the soul, how you should control lust, greed and anger. These are 3 pathways to hell. How the different natures work inside of your body when the 3 modes of goodness affect us, sattva, rajas, tamas. All of this you're hearing, but then it is for you to decide. Now I have said whatever I have to say. I've talked about the 3 modes. I've talked about the 5 different existences of this material world, which is Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, Ishvara. I've spoken about the 5 topics. So I've given you a lot of intelligence, a lot of knowledge within these 18 chapters. Krishna didn't split it as 18 chapters, but in our conversation, I've given you everything. But yathechasi tatha kuru. Okay, Krishna is not saying, now that you have heard it from me, now you know what I wish, follow what I'm saying. Krishna is saying, please do what you think is appropriate. Yatha ichchasi, aapka ichha jaisa hai, वैसे तथा कुरु, do it as you wish. And then Arjuna is saying, thank you Krishna, sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, karishye, I'm going to do, karishya karna, okay, karishye vachanam, aapka vachan tava, your vachan I am going to follow. Why? Because I feel very situated, very grounded. Sthitosmi. Sthita is to be situated. Asmi, I. Gata means to go. Sandeha. My doubts have been cleared. So now I'm going to do as you have instructed me. This I am taking based on your instructions and also my understanding from your instructions. Right? So many times, there are some people like Arjuna who are just going to read the Gita and say, that's it. From today, my life is changed. Sthitosmi, Gata Sandeha, 18 days. I read the Gita, 18 chapters. All my doubts cleared. Karishye Vachanam Tava. I'm going to act exactly the way Krishna said and my life is transformed. Forget about 18 days, 18 years. Every year, 1 year to read 1 chapter of Gita, yeah? And then transform ourselves. If that is possible, that is great by our own selves, right? But what happens is something that just got in between Dwapara and Kali. Who got in between? Kali. Kali Purusha just entered, right? And what did he do? He said, great, this is Iron Age of Kali and this is my age. What am I going to do? What is that shloka? My favorite shloka. Prayena Alpa Ayushaha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha Mandaha Sumandamatayaha Mandabhagyahi Upadritaha. So he said, you know what all I'm going to do? I'm going to reduce your lifetime. Alpayush Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha, those people who are as part of this Kali Yuga. What else will I give? These are the gifts of Kali. Mandaha, I'll make you lazy. Sumandamati, I'll make your mind lazy. Mandabhagya, I'll make your fortune also lazy. And then Upadrita, disturbed. Like the external noises disturb us, internal noises disturb us. We so disturbed sometimes that even something like this, popping, you'll say, can you just put your notification off? It is so disturbing, right? Anything small can disturb us. That's how disturbed we can get. Laziness. Are we lazy? Yes. We are lazy. The next generation is all the more chilling out. Then they say freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of space. Give me my space, locked inside the room. And do you know what you want to do in the future? I don't know, but give me my space. When I want to, I will wake up, right? So there is space, space, space. So as Kali progresses, all of these wonderful gifts that Kali has come with as awards for us is only going to become more expanded, right? So unless otherwise, we choose to change either by reading the theory of Gita as it is and change, which is very good, which means we are self-motivated people. That's great. Or get into the lab of Krishna consciousness with Mahaprabhu's hand and start chanting the names of the Lord. Then what happens? So this is the purpose of Mahaprabhu's appearance. This is one of the reasons why Mahaprabhu appeared. Who is Mahaprabhu? This is Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself in the mood of Radharani. Why did he come in the mood of Radharani? That's the next question, right? So we understand who is Caitanya Mahaprabhu now. Krishna, who gave the theory part of Bhagavad Gita, wants to come as a practical, to explain it practically in this Kali Yuga, hold our hands and show how the colorless solution can turn into violet the moment you keep titrating, right? So you're constantly into that zone of chanting, color changes. The internal color changes. And after that color, so we will always see that they will say, the moment you see change in color of titration, that purple color, be very careful. Because you pour more, it will become colored. And there will be no change back to colorless. So you have to find that particular space where your color is changing, right? So the good news about Krishna consciousness is also something similar, that the moment the color changes to purple, there is no going back to white. You may become light purple. But you'll never go back to colorless. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. That's the beauty of Mahaprabhu's movement. You've become Krishnaized. That is, we throw some iron filings. It's just iron. But you throw it around magnet and it remains close to the magnet for a long period of time. It also attracts the quality of that iron, that it cannot become the normal iron filings after that. It has the property of the magnet as well. Like that, just keep yourself, Mahaprabhu is requesting, please keep yourself closer to the names of the Lord. Then what happens? There is no, you're Krishnaized, you're magnetized, like that you're Krishnaized. There is no becoming just the iron filings again. Right? So that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. That's the beauty of Caitanya Mahaprabhu.